Hey, and so we're going to talk about the Week 10 2024 NFL's games update. Let's talk about the games. Every game in order here. And we're going to talk about them and talk about each game and how it went. And so we have the NFL Munich, Germany game. They play 3 games in London, 1 in Munich, Germany, and they played 1 result of the end season. And Munich, Germany, it's the final international game. And not the final NFL Network game of the year. There's been 4 so far on NFL Network. They played 3 more on NFL Network and they play 3 on NFL Network on the Saturday, the week of Christmas week. They play 1 on Saturday. They play 3 on Saturday on NFL Network triple header to wrap up the season NFL Network, regular season games and all the games on NFL Network. Exclusively NFL Network only. But the Carolina Panthers kicked a game-winning field goal to win. They were down 10, and to start the fourth quarter, and they had to kick a field goal late in the game, and then a field goal, and then a fumble in the first play of overtime by my Giants, and Carolina wins. It was not the prettiest. It was not the best game by both teams, but Carolina did just enough to win the game and they won it 20-17. And you feel bad though for that guy. You feel bad. You really do. Because he knows he just lost the game. The Kansas City Chiefs improved to 9-0 today with the win over Denver. Kansas City is 9-0. And they had a edge of their seats, everyone. They did. But Kansas City finds a way to win. Somehow they ended up winning. On the end of the game, they want to see if they could let Denver score and then hope there's enough time for Kansas City to score. But the defenses, the coordinators, like, nope, we're not letting you do that, basically. We're not going to let you do that. So they blocked the field goal. They had came down the field goal, the block or miss, or the make in the win for Denver. Or if the Kansas City blocked it or Denver missed it, the kicker missed it. For Denver, it was a game over, and Chiefs won it 16-14. Kansas City Chiefs win. It was not the greatest. Neither team played impressive, but Kansas City did just enough to win the game. The Pittsburgh Steelers improved to 7-2 over a really good Washington Commanders team in Pittsburgh. Just late in the fourth quarter, Pittsburgh had the ball, then Washington got back, and they turned it over in downs, and then fourth down off, and then it was their turn, and they took all their times on fourth down and won. We're going to either go for it, or they looked like they were going to just do the offsides, maybe take the penalty, punt it, and the offsides, 4th and 1, jumped. One of the Washington Commanders defenders jumped across the scrimmage and lost in the game. Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a really good game here, especially in the early window. And sometimes they always have like a marquee game or two and that was the best game of the day. So for the early window, that was the early window and the late window for that matter. That was the best game of the day besides the primetime game. We have the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints. They fired their coach and they go have their players back, their star players back. Their quarterback, Derek Carr, New Orleans is. So that's part of why New Orleans was able to win. But it does still You would have thought, oh, maybe Atlanta should win this one. Either way. But it was close. And no one scored the fourth or the first. And just Atlanta got shut out in this one, in the fourth. And Derek Carr and Derek Carr, Kamara, and Scantling did just enough to win the game, to win New Orleans the game. 2017 win for New Orleans over Atlanta. That was a shocking upset loss. That was a big upset. Atlanta had a great momentum on the season. Atlanta had 2 in a row wins, even so they were 5-1. They had a 5-1 stretch. And they lost in a huge upset. Wow. That was a huge upset. A huge upset for Atlanta. Well, Atlanta is still in good position in the NFC South, however. They are. And we have San Francisco or Tampa Bay 23-20. And Moody had to miss 3 field goals in the game. Made 3, missed 3. But ended up winning. But he ended up winning San Francisco the game late or a time experiment. And Tampa Bay falls to 4-6. It's a tough one for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had this. It was a one that Tampa Bay. It was kind of a must win for Tampa Bay because they have a few winnable games. They got 3 winnable games. They got 1 against NY Giants, 1 against Carolina, 1 against Las Vegas. So they could be 7-6. Could be 7-6 heading into the game against Las Vegas. And then they got maybe with Cooper rushing for Dallas. Well, let's see. It could be 8-7. If they lose to LA Chargers. 8-7. Then they could be 9-7. Then they could be 10-7. But the St. New Orleans probably will play their starters even so. Strap out the season, so they could be 10-5, 10-7. So we'll see though. They do have a very winnable stretch though. They could go to them. Or they could be 11-6 too if they beat the LA Chargers. That was a must win though. For Tampa Bay though, especially in some momentum. But they're still in not a bad position though. They're still in 10-7 territory. But we have Buffalo improves to 8-2 in the year. A dominant 8-2 for Buffalo. And Joe Flacco did not play well. He said since he's been the starter in Indianapolis. They lost to Minnesota. Then they lost to Anthony Richardson. They benched him, but they incompletions. But Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions. And Josh Allen 2 receptions, but he just did not play well. Both teams did not play the best. They had 2 interceptions. But man, Buffalo that's tough for Indianapolis. So losing though, especially when you had a shot to win. Josh Allen wasn't playing the best for Buffalo. And Joe Flacco just turned it over though. Hurt them. New England beats Chicago 19-3. Drake May just had kicked Joey Slides has kicked 4 field goals in this game, and we had to touch him and interception. Caleb Williams just had the receivers were just on lock, 60 and 320 yards, and Swift had 16 carries for 59 yards, so not the greatest game. Neither team. I mean, yes, Drake may not play very well for New England, but they did not play very amazing, but they did all they had to win, and that is just not a great loss for Chicago. Chicago, ever since that game against Washington, they lost that one game. They just did not look great against Arizona, and they did not. Their defenses did well in the game against, but their offense just did not play great against Arizona, and just their offense horrid. So, man. And then they go into a tough stretch. For Chicago goes into a tough stretch. They play Green Bay in Chicago. Then they play Detroit on Thanksgiving. Well, the 3 Thanksgiving games. The Thanksgiving early afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, depending on where you live. But it's early afternoon for Eastern time. And they play Detroit. Then they play, in between that, they also play Minnesota in Chicago. But Minnesota's been struggling a little bit with Sam Darnold on the offense. However, Chicago's not been looking great, so we'll see if Sam Darnold and Minnesota can turn that around. But that's not looking great either. You got San Francisco, and then they also got another game against Minnesota in Minnesota. And they also play They also play Detroit again in the same stretch as Minnesota. So it's like, they play. No, things are not looking good for Chicago. And Chicago looks like they're a team that's just going to be out. And that game against Minnesota, that one on Monday Night Football, looks like it's going to be flexed out. If Chicago doesn't do, even if Minnesota just plays well, just winning, I don't know if they're necessarily playing, they play well. Even if they just win, if Minnesota wins and Chicago just loses, then Chicago could get that game flexed out of Sunday Monday Night Football that week, which I would not be surprised about it at all. We have Minnesota at Jacksonville. Minnesota did not play well. Minnesota had 3 turnovers. Sanders threw 3 interceptions in that one. He had thrown 2 in the first, one in the first quarter, one in the second quarter, and one early in the third quarter. He did, but the Minnesota's defense played well in this game, and Minnesota did not score any touchdowns in that game. John Percaromo one of the field goal kickers they brought in during the game, in preseason. See, Rorick, who was the best kicker was Rorick, and they had brought him back. They brought all the other kickers, John Percaromo, and they brought other kickers back that weren't signed on teams. The same kickers they brought back, and he won the tryout for the kick batter that started for the new kicker spot. In the long snapper, they had a long snapper on practice squad. They just elevated up backup long snapper. So, but the kickers, they had Trout, and he won the Trout of the kickers. So John Parker Romo on Tuesday. So John Parker Romo is good, and he was kicked 4 field goals and won the Vikings the game. But they seemed to played well on offense. It just that seemed to run through 3 interceptions. That was all. One reason why it's close. Otherwise, I mean, this game should not have been close. Really, but Minnesota does win 12-7. Wins ugly. I mean, Kansas City won ugly though too. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Who cares, you know? I mean, all you care about is a win's a win. And we had Tennessee at LA Chargers. This was the 4 or 5 Eastern time window on a game on Fox. And LA Chargers have played really well this season with their new coach, with their Harbaugh coach. The Harbaughs that came over from Michigan. He came over and has led this team to a really good start. He was coaching San Francisco, and he got released, went back to the college ranks in Michigan. Has done well there, but won a national championship with Michigan as the head coach. Then came back, then was able to come back to the NFL ranks. Like he wanted to, and he won an opening. And LA Chargers took a chance on him. And boy, has it paid off. Yes, it has. They played a struggling Tennessee team, but they did what they needed to win. And even though it wasn't the prettiest game, they did what they needed to win, and they did. 27-17 to win. Eagles, Philadelphia. Got the 14th Eastern, CBS window. Philadelphia beats Cooper Rush at Dallas. Cooper Rush on offense was 13-23, only 45 yards of offense. So, I mean, Philadelphia didn't have a lot of offense. He had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 carries, 66 yards for Barkley. Dowell had 12 carries for 53 yards. Rush had 13 of 23 for 44 yards. So they were not able to get off plays. They only had 30, if you count the passing and the runs, they only had 35 plays on offense, which they were just pinned back a lot in their own end, and they just were not able to get nothing going on offense, which really hurts them, you know? And they had 146 yards total yards. And that includes, like, probably other things besides, like, you know, but man, that was not great. And that was not a great game for Dallas. But I mean, what do you expect? It's without Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott could have played through, but I mean, he was looking for like a medical opinion, and they said that a second opinion, and they're like, well, you should get surgery on this. That was basically their training stuff, like their best. You know, he was like, I'm gonna get surgery. I'm gonna stay out for the year and get surgery on this. And then I lost to Atlanta. That's what happened. He was out, and then Ron Cooper rushed, and then they're like, well, I'm gonna, it's my best interest for my career. I'm gonna get surgery on that. I'm gonna get surgery done about for the rest of the season. So, and it's best for his career, you know, to get it, and then not just play through it, and maybe if they hurt some worse or whatnot. And then we got New York, my Jets. Arizona. And Aaron Rodgers did not play well, despite having 22 for 35 for 151 yards. And Kyler Murray was 22-24 for 206 yards with touchdown. So they just played really efficient. Kyler Murray did. And he did some with his running, some passing, and just played really solid offensive game all around. And just and Arizona and the new NY Jets did not play very well, but Arizona played just really well, played dominant football, and that's what you want to expect going into week 11. We have some big games. The feature national primetime games are Washington at Philadelphia, which is going to be a really solid game, and you have a really solid one on CBS. Houston, and you got Kansas City at Buffalo, which that could be that could have been flexed to Sunday or Monday night football because of they had Indianapolis at NY Jets. That was flexed to CBS, so the second best game. Cincinnati at LA Chargers was flexed to NBC, but maybe also because Baltimore and Pittsburgh have a bunch of nationally televised games. Maybe leading up to the season, maybe they have six that if they play all ones in the future, because they do have a couple ones on Saturday games that would have been played Sunday, but then Thursday, Christmas Day is on Wednesday this year, so they're playing games on Wednesday. So they're going to play games on Wednesday this year. So they're playing on Saturday, like it's Saturday at Wednesday, like a Thursday, like Sunday to Thursday night. So they have 2 for that. So that might count as part of their nationally televised teams. Because they have 2 and there's no other football games on, NFL games on. And the Saturday games are going on. They have one game going on, and the second game goes on. It's like 2 nationally televised teams. So that could be part of it. But man, you have some really good games going on for week 11. So, but it could have been in place of Houston and Dallas, or Houston and Dallas. Could have been on CBS as well, or Baltimore and Pittsburgh, because they would have CBS would protect Kansas City at Buffalo. So we'll see though. But and I'll let you know on Tuesday who the announcers are if they get teased early on Monday, which sometimes occasionally I see that they get teased. So if they do, I'll let you know and post about them on Monday. Or if not, on Tuesday, I'll let you mention the games. I'll mention, here's on Tuesday. And Wednesday, it's always the TV schedule. Like the TV coverage maps. Announce like which game is the national game on Fox. Which game is like the Kevin Burkhardt Tom Brady game on Fox. Which most likely it's probably going to be either Green Bay at Chicago, or it's going to be in the 4:05 Eastern window. In the 1 Eastern window, it's going to be, if they choose to go with the 1 Eastern window as the featured window, it's going to be either Green Bay and Chicago, or it's going to be Atlanta, Dallas, or Atlanta, Denver.